Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Friday Live at ADRP. Today, we've been made everyone aware of such an important guest today, and it's been very interesting to see how much feedback we've already had. So, without any further ado, today's special guest, over my left shoulder, the man, the myth, the legend, the crew chief, the transportation manager of all things Kapiris Brothers and Drag Racing, Jeff Cutajar. Good afternoon, Jeff.
Hello, you forgot to mention janitor.
Job. Yes, Nicole did put that in the blurb that she read from your personal, what you put out there as what you do. So I won't go there, but that's your words. That's fine.
It's all good.
Jeff, thanks so much for your time today. I think you shocked a few people the other day when you joined the world of Facebook. You are. I wasn't jesting with the man, the myth, the legend. Everybody in the industry knows who you are and knows what you're about. But you have been a fairly quiet sort of guy in the background a lot of the time. Obviously, with your business that we're going to talk a little bit about today, you've decided to sort of put yourself out there publicly. And I wanted to just take the opportunity of catching up with you today as one of the foundation members of what drag racing is today in Australia, and let you give some people some fact and share about who you are, where you've come from, where you've been and where you're going. So if I could throw to you, if you can just sort of talk us through how you got started and what's been happening through that period to up to today, I guess.
Okay. How I got started? Peter Kapiris. But I'm sure everybody knows that. How it started, we were knocking around together. He had his own business in the market. I worked in the market for someone else. We'd catch up at his place, go and race his HZ at street meets. And I remember one day we went back and we were having pizza or whatever we were doing. He opens up a book and he goes, "Have a look at that." I go, "What's that?" He said, "It's a Beretta." I go, "What's a Beretta?" He said, "Oh, it's a chef car." He goes, "Taverna's built it for me." He said, "We're going to go and drag race it." He goes, "Do you want a crew for me?" I went, "No. What do I have to do?" He goes, "I don't know. I've never done it." So he goes, "Come down and have a look at the car. It's getting built." So I went down to Taverna's. All I knew back then was XAs, XBs, Holdens. I see this pile of pipes on the ground. I go, "Okay, it's not doing anything for me." Like, "No, it'd be good, it'd be good, it'd be good." So we built this car. Well, he built it. Taverna built it. We went a bit of racing with John Taverna, and obviously I started to say, "Oh, this is pretty cool." So, and I think in the end, I think we were one of the first guys. I wouldn't say first ever, but we were on the bandwagon of pioneering, getting a professional look with uniforms and stuff like that. So we made uniforms. You know, they weren't very complimentary, I've got to say, but we started. Well. We started that deal. So anyway, long story, trying to shorten it up a bit, is we were both knocking heads aftermarket, trying to work on this thing, trying to make races, and we'd both be staying awake all day where we should be sleeping. And he says, "Oh man, I've got to concentrate on my business. You want to stay on this full time?" I go, "All right." So my job back then was simply to drive the truck and get everything ready and organise, take the motor to our crew chiefs and stuff like that. I had no idea what I'd be doing today, I can tell you that right now. So, I was just doing it because I loved it, and I fell in love with it, and I wanted to get out of the market.
Jeff, that was back when the Beretta was an aquary green colour with John Taverna down the side, would that be correct?
Yeah, sure was. Yeah.
Okay. I remember seeing that as a kid at Heathcote and thinking it was the wildest thing I'd ever seen.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I love that car. I mean, it was never ever going to be Doorslammer stuff, but it was, it paved the way for us. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, and it went through a few different gauzes. It was 2 or 3 different colours. It had gull wing doors on it for a very short period of time.
Nobody forgets that, do they?
No, sir.
No, that was one meeting.
It was a short period of time.
One meeting. When we realised we couldn't get into the garage at Calder, we realised it was a bad idea.
Oh well, that. Sometimes the best ideas don't always come to fruition. So after the Beretta, what happened then? Where did you guys move to?
The top Doorslammer thing started to become, I don't know, a bit of a, 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 I become big, and Pete said, look, I want in on it. And so we bought a car from Robert Broadbent. We bought his Statesman. And I truly hated that car. And he says, no, it'll be good. I said, no, it's ugly. He goes, no, it'll be good. So we went down, all the way down, we bought that car and took it back to Murray's, revamped it, and we started our Doorslammer career with the Statesman.
Now, when you say you hated it, I remember racing against you guys a couple of times way back before even Doorslammer, and was it the aesthetic of the ex-Aussie Bananas Statesman, or was it the fact that I think it was described at one stage as the most evil handling race car on the track?
Yeah, it was the latter. It wasn't anything to do with Aussie Bananas thing. Rob Broadbent's a good guy. You know, we go way back with him. It wasn't that. It was just, look, not only that, even back then, having a four-door car, making to a race car, you know, and it's such a big one, I wasn't really keen on.
Okay.
And then there was a second part. Yeah, it was pretty wild ride. I think Peter made it worse than it really was. But
All right. And so in those days, you guys pioneered the Inky valve, and you had Ian Cleveland as crew chief.
Sure.
Through all of that period, your role was still team manager and logistics more than much else?
Yes, it was. Yeah, 100% it was. It wasn't till Ian left and moved on to Queensland that I said I'm going to have a more active role in this if I'm doing this full time. And it was like a couple of other guys, you know, would say, what's he been doing, you know, behind the scenes? Does he do anything else but do that? And I thought, you know what, maybe I can do a bit more. And I still remember the first time Peter seen me on a computer. He goes, what are you doing, mate? I said, well, I'm going to learn this, buddy. He goes, yeah, right. Well, you know, now today I'm sort of trying to show other people how to do it too, you know, like it's been a wild journey, I'll tell you.
And how long ago would have that been when you first sat in front of your first race pack?
Actually, it was a Motec back then, believe
Okay.
it or not. We were, again, one of the first guys in drag racing to have a Motec in our car, and that was set up through Indy, in Cleveland. Man, that would have been 12 years ago, maybe more.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd a guess.
And now, as you said, you know, race pack is a large part of your business that you're doing within the drag racing world. Yeah,
it sure is. Look, Mark Brew hooked me on a race pack. He said it was a good product, and he was right. And he showed me a bit of stuff and opened some doors for me. And I tell you what, it is, and I'm not just saying it because I moved to it. And that's why we did, because it's a good product. It's easy, user-friendly, and everyone in the world uses it, so that doesn't make it that bad, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you mentioned Brewy there. Now, obviously, a little while ago, he's left the Kapiris camp. He's now tuning top fuel motorcycles, I think, along with other things. Where has that left the void? What's happening with you and Kapiris Racing? And Peter's also not raced for the last few meetings. So what's happening in your world as far as the Kapiris Brothers side of things?
Well, in my world, look, obviously I pushed the brake on Pete. He didn't want to stop, and he needed it mentally, financially, and with the move of his business, house, and all that stuff. It was a cool thing to do. Obviously, see, Mark and I were paid. So Mark, obviously, he had to make a living. So he's doing his thing now with Chris Matheson, and I think he's going to come and he's going to be on board with Spinozzi's when they get going.
Yes.
Where it's left me is I've been tuning cars behind the scenes, turbo, blown, whatever. I thought, I might be able to have a crack, and I've been crewing this year with the Galot team. Todd Tutaro, Jeff Ball. Jeff Ball's a very good friend of mine in America who tunes with Galot, and he gave me the in there, and it's been really, really fruitful. Okay,
so that's the trip we were speaking about yesterday when I teed up this call with you, that you've been over there and crewing for the Galot guys. Tell us a little bit about what you've learnt, and perhaps clear up a few of the interesting water cooler stories that are going around Australia at the moment about what we're going to see when we see the Kapiris car back. All sorts of crazy things talked about.
Well, the first crate thing is true. It's going to have a converter in it, and we bought a deal. It's like a glorified Bruno drive. It's a tie drive. It's a tie zone build-up drive, and man, this is a piece of work just to look at. Pete said, "Can we just look at it, and not even use it?" But I said, "No, we're using it," and he's starting to get really excited. And we are putting a converter in it, and we keep our manual transmission. We're doing all that. That goes on behind it.
So it's a converter drive to the Lenco. It's not a turbo 400 2-speed or any of that crazy stuff that the pro extreme cars tend to run.
Not at all. I can still do the maintenance on the gearboxes as I always do. I can still have 3 gearboxes to choose ratios from. That would have been a huge expense to get rid of all that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
So
you've said the first one's true. Obviously, therefore you're leading towards the other exciting one is not true, and that is we'll be staying a PSI supercharged car.
No, it's a full roots blown car. No, I'm only joking. No, it's still a PSI car. It's no, it's still the same combo, same everything, Noonan headed, BAE, same deal. There was no question that the deal Brewery put for us, it makes power. There's no question on that. So why would I touch that?
Okay, all right. And in a short answer, why the converter? Why have you gone away from the clutch and gone to this tie drive?
I don't know if I can give you that in a short answer. Short answer would be that they're making it work so good over there that it's a different way of running the car. I believe that it can be more consistent than the clutch, especially here in Australia. I mean, that's what I believe. I don't know if it's true, but going and working with these guys, I'm like, man, I walk into the office in the trailer, and they've got 15 runs up, and they're nearly all pitch perfect. And Jeff Ball looks at me and goes, "You're loving this, aren't you?" I said, "I cannot believe those lines. They're just, there's hardly any aborted runs," which really appeals to me and any other racer, I guess.
So a lot of the management now in the performance is going to come down to the 6-shooter or whatever you want to call the ignition control box.
6-shooters I don't even think they make them anymore. They're a thing of the past. It's all power grid, fuel management. Yeah, it's all that kind of stuff. Now a lot of people bang on about traction control and that, and with traction control, I see what they do in PRA there. They use it for a little bit to get going, but they always take it off because they're never going to be real fast with it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So with the Totoro deal, you spent a bit of time at the PDRA?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did PDRA, and I did 2 NHRA meetings with them, and that was awesome. I enjoyed both of them. What was a real eye-opener was the NHRA. It was all legal, all rules, no lockups. And, they still managed to get things done there. And, they're going to be a serious threat in the NHRA. And they've just started back in there. And, look, they just started back in there. And out of 23 cars, they went to the final in Vegas, a month ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, they switched on. Really switched on.
Well, they're going to have to be, aren't they? And that NHRA Pro Mod deal, it's just growing hand over fist every day. There's another 5 racers who want to add their name to the list of waiting to get in.
And they're battling because they don't do what we do. They have nitrous and turbo in the one class. I mean, I don't know how they police that. They obviously do a good job at it, but it's a battle for the blind cars. I've got to say.
Okay, all right. So that's a little bit of sort of where you've been, where you've got to. Tell us a little bit about what's happening at Jeff Cutajar race stuff.
Well, like we talked about yesterday, Brett, obviously my job is my top priority, Kapiris Brothers Racing. On the side, I like to sell race pack and I really enjoy doing installations. And what started off as a hobby has now become like a full-time thing on the side, if I can say that.
Okay.
So, doing full wiring of cars and stuff like that, and I find myself busier than ever.
And obviously supplying parts to guys who want to do their own installs and put their own computers in. And
Yeah, 100%. Look, and even doing tuning days and stuff, and I even find myself now, in the last month, I've been once a week going to tune boats. So, yeah, blowing boats. Yeah, it's been fun.
Okay, well, it's the right weather for that. That's a good start.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to be kind enough to, after you answer this question, pan around to your left.
Yeah.
Now, another thing we wanted to clear up with your good self was that Peter Gratz is making some noise on social media. He's coming back to drag racing with a Studebaker.
Yeah, he's coming back with a Studebaker, but and it's ours. It's our body. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no way that I couldn't bring myself to part with a thing that's been part of my life since 1998. So a buddy of mine, Jason, and I have teamed up, and we're going to bring this car back out and do some outlaw stuff with it.
Okay, so the original Kapiris Batmobile, the Studebaker that Peter campaigned in Doorslammer, is currently hanging above your head. There we go.
Can you see that?
We can see that. Thank you.
That's her there.
All right, and so you had a spare body. That's the one that's gone up to Pete. But the original car is going to be campaigned by your good self and Jason. What sort of deal are we going to see with that?
This is going to be like an outlaw deal, and we're going to do like extreme with it. Probably APSA, maybe some Andro. It'll be a once or twice a year thing. Obviously, both of us, are on the Kapiris team, so that's going to be our focus. But when we can on the side, it'll be a PSI fat-headed Hemi. Basically, what it had in it, but with some restrictions lifted.
Okay.
Might even have some radials on the back. I don't know.
So when you say outlaw, you don't mean supercharged outlaws. You mean outlaw, as in we'll just run whatever we want.
Yeah, outlaw extreme.
Yeah. Okay. And what rotor PSI?
No, it's going to have a D rotor on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I've got my buddy Frank Ramone say, "Here, I got this C rotor here if you want to use it."
Okay.
I might have to take him up on it.
Frank's watching.
Yeah. So there you go. He'll be he'll be on the phone. He'll be on the phone as soon as we get off this and say it's on its way, mate. You've opened your mouth. You've got to put the C rotor on it. So.
Oh, he's cool. Look, the last 3 or 4 times that he took his motor out, I was tuning it, and we had some fun. And I tell you what, man, that makes some good boost, that thing, man.
Okay, that was with what rotor on that?
That's a C rotor. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a C rotor deal. Yeah. But Frank didn't leave anything up his sleeve. He had like all the overdrive and everything. He wasn't mucking around.
Yeah, well, Frank usually tries to go flat out at any cost. So.
He was driving whatever I gave him. I can tell you that.
And that's a converter car as well, yes.
Yeah, I reckon that's probably really what paved the way for me to start looking elsewhere, and me, Peter and I should say, because Peter and I did talk about this in length before we went ahead and done something like this. But it was look, I've been doing the turbo thing for a while, driving the turbo car on test days, and saying, well, it's an automatic. I mean, how much different can it be? So then jumping from that with Frank's car with a lot of power on a small tyre, still making it happen. You know what? I said, if I get the right guidance, I think we might be okay with this.
Okay.
I mean, look how well Frank's done in one outing.
Yeah. And
I think it's the way of the future.
Well, we spoke to Victor at the Winters earlier this year when his first pass back and he was straight into the fives, and I said to him at the time, what's the deal? And he said it's a converter car, and I said, so that's the way you're going? And he chuckled and said, mate, we've sold all the clutches. We've got to make this deal work. So they're very much committed to that way of racing now as well. So,
you know what? I just better be careful what I say, because I've got a clutch dyno and a clutch grinder I want to sell. So I better. Clutches are still cool.
All right. Well, before we let you go, tell me, can you give us an indication when we're going to see the Kapiris Brothers car back on track?
We would like to be seriously doing some testing by the end of January, February next year.
Okay.
With our new deal. I'm just starting to piece this thing together. I got all my bits probably 2 weeks ago, and I'm just starting to dummy everything up now. And it's it wasn't fitting at the start, but it fits now. So it's a little bit of manipulation and taking some parts and remote mounting them. But it's working. It's working. So hopefully next year, to answer your question.
All right. Well, you said you and Peter both believe it's such a pretty piece that you don't even want to put it in the race car. I'll hit you up publicly now and say I'd like a photograph of it so that we can post that after the interview here and people can see how pretty it is.
I can do that. Yeah, there's no problem. Yeah, I can do that. And Peter, after all that money he's spent, he's smitten with this thing. I thought, oh, he's going to take a bit of come around, but no, he's excited. He's pumped. I think you're going to see a new Peter when it comes out.
Well, that'll be awesome. We can't wait to see you and Pete and the whole team back on track. It'll be a wonderful shot in the arm for drag racing in Australia.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time today, mate. We hope that things continue to go forward for you guys, as I'm sure they will. Really appreciate your time today, Jeff. I know you're such a busy guy and everyone knows how hard you are to get a hold of, but once they get a hold of you, the advice is second to none. So we appreciate your time today and we'll see you at a racetrack very soon.
Thank you, although you have done one thing for me though.
What's that?
He knows I'm not at work now.
I'm sure you'll be able to smooth that over, mate. How many years is that partnership now?
Full time, I've been doing it as a living for 23 years, 24 years next year.
Well, I think you're pretty safe, mate.
I think I'll be okay. You know, it's all him too. Trust me, because if it wasn't for him, let me do what I do, man. I don't know what I'd be doing. I tell you, I wouldn't get away with that much anywhere else.
I was going to say we won't go down that road, mate. We'll leave it there.
Oh no, we have some good fights. Don't worry. Our wives reckon that we're like a married couple ourselves, so don't worry about that.
All right, dude. I'll let you go, and you can get back and make those parts fit.
No worries.
Thanks so much for your time, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, guys, there we go. That was the enigmatic Jeff Cutajar. Awesome to hear some straight out of the horse's mouth information, and hopefully we will see that Kapiris car back January, February of the coming year. As I said, one of the favoritist, if there's such a word, cars in Australian drag racing. Everybody loves Peter. Jeff's a great guy, and we can't wait to see them back on track. Thank him again for his time. And we'll post that picture of apparently the prettiest part in drag racing known to man very shortly. Thanks for your time today. We hope you got something out of Jeff's interview. Make sure you support him. He's supporting drag racing, so make sure you support him when you possibly can. Thanks, guys. We'll look forward to seeing you on Monday. Have a safe weekend. Go safe.